just started working at the bird festival, and then I got interested in birds and I saw a bird book, so I got a bird book, and I thought it would be nice to start looking at birds.
I wanted to support the local community that lives with this beautiful wilderness every single day and has to try to make a living. I mean, I've been out to the refuge before and stayed on the refuge birding and, looking at animals and just enjoying the scenery, but, people live here too. And I felt like it was important to come support the town of Burns and the community.
I was curious about what the earlier migration would be like and what the area would be like, and also because I thought it needed to be emphasized that people value certainly this refuge and the opportunity to see different birds here and just be out in nature.
Malheur is really one of the most important stopover parts of the Pacific Flyway. It's on its way, hopefully, back to where it was when Malheur was founded, which was an amazingly prolific and productive wetland for both resident birds, but also especially for migratory birds that are, heading north as far as Alaska and Canada, and then some of the birds, the shorebirds that come through here, go all the way down to Argentina. So it's a huge stopover point. Birds can lose so much of their body weight. They need to stop and refuel and rest in a safe place, and this is a really important one.
When the conditions are ripe here, this is beyond some of the best birding you'll ever see because the brine flies hatch out in these alkaline flats, and that's usually late summer. And the shorebirds are starting to move back. The gulls have done nesting and they're grouped up, and the food source is so massive that it just pulls birds from everywhere. And they'll blacken these small wetland areas that you see right here, Stinking Lake and Harney Lake, and there's just thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of them.
Hundreds of thousands of birds would descend upon Malheur Lake every year to breed. And when carp were introduced in the 50s, all that submerged aquatic vegetation disappeared. The lake became extremely turbid and somewhat anoxic, and it barely supports 10% of the birds that it used to. And that's disregarding drought and things like that. I mean, the potential of the lake is still there.
What carp do is they get into the water and they roil up the bottom and make it impossible for the vegetation to grow, which means there's no food for these birds that want to come in and feed and nest. So that's what we're trying to do by getting rid of the carp, is create a healthy aquatic ecosystem so that these birds will come back and breed. And it's gone from a system back pre-carp of, again, 100,000 breeding waterfowl on that lake to a virtual desert. There's virtually nothing going on in here. Now there is breeding waterfowl on these impoundments up and down the Blitzen Valley, but these are much, much smaller than the potential of the lake. So that was one of the kind of beautiful points of agreement that came out of this collaborative process to build a comprehensive conservation plan, was to focus on carp because it is such a huge issue. And if we can solve it, and that's still a big if. This is a problem all over the country. This is a problem in many other countries. Common carp are kind of the perfect invasive. They're migratory. They have an enormous amount of eggs. They can hold those eggs. They're a puzzle, and people have been trying to solve it for a long time, but an enormous amount of brain power from all over the world and resources are going into trying to solve that here. and on the Malheur Refuge. And if we can solve that, we have a gift for the rest of the country and the rest of the world around carp.
The reserve's sort of the heart of things, but there's really important conservation work happening in rings around Malheur, and that's been building for quite a while. And the conservation plan that was written, it's actually still being extended, and it's being added to by the local players, the ranchers, the Burns, Paiute, and various state and county and federal partners, because it's so successful. So it's actually very nice to be back here and see, the ranchers have their signs up saying, the way we manage cattle is so that it will help birds. But I mean, we're managing for our cattle, and it just is. It's kind of what you want in life, is the ability for multiple needs to be met, and keeping the bigger picture of conservation in mind.
This is my second year, and I love coming to Burns because it's so open. It is. I mean, you get out here and it's big sky country. It's just beautiful. Everybody's very lucky to be here. It's an inspirational area because of all the migratory birds that are coming through right now, and we've got cranes, which are very common at this moment. Well, when you look at nature, I mean, nature is full of colors, and I just try and replicate what I see and kick it up a notch maybe. But when you look at a crane, they've got the nice red crimson crown on, and with the sunset you've got the yellow glow. It's all about art and balance.
I think it's because I came from a hunting family and started hunting at an early age, and now I can hunt year round with the camera. I try to carry my camera all the time and just jump at the opportunity. Probably a kingfisher is one of the most difficult to get a photograph of. And as far as a favorite, I don't think I have a favorite. They're all fun.
The best part of Malheur, I think, is the white geese. I mean, there's nothing better than all those white geese rising. That's great stuff.
I love cranes, and I was so happy to see cranes again, and in pretty big numbers that we saw them today. So that was really great.
I just like a lot of the waterfowl. I mean, there's so many different kinds of ducks and related. That's and then the shorebirds. You just don't see those where I live.
I'll tell you what his favorite bird is. No,
Do you know what?
No, I'm just kidding. He likes the great blue heron.
It would be called the kingfisher. It's got a cool little mohawk, and I'll look it up right now. I should have it. Well, there's a kingfisher right there. That's a kingfisher.
I actually did see a prairie falcon, which I love prairie falcons. They nest up, in the rim rock. And we were looking for burrowing owls, but didn't find any. We did see a golden eagle. Love the snow geese. And we saw a river otter. So yeah, so I was quite happy with the number and diversity of species that we did see today on this tour.
I really like the volume, actually. I'm more interested in seeing, individual birds do interesting things. So I've been enjoying all the huge numbers of Ross's geese that we've seen, and just kind of watching them do their thing.
I'm not really a raptor gal, but I'm pretty fond of the Swainson's hawk because they're remarkable. They have tiny bills because mostly they eat invertebrates and other small little critters. They live here part of the time. They breed and have babies, but then they fly all the way back to Argentina. And I just think it's amazing they have such an affinity for this landscape. They'll keep coming back here.
I love the burrowing owls. They're so cute. And this time I got to see a ferruginous hawk, and they were so beautiful. And the harrier, the northern harrier, they were so beautiful. I was really stunned. And the masses of the white geese that fly up in just clouds that are seething and swirling is an unforgettable sight that it's, even though you've seen it before, it's always thrilling.
Every day you see something different. You see a lot of the same, but then you just run across something that you just didn't expect, just there.
It's fun. Come on down.
I would probably want to go to the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge and go there and just kind of look for birds and try to buy a pair of binoculars and then just sit there in a comfy chair and just stare and watch the world go by and look at birds.